हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू द क्लास। और आज हम अपना सब्जेक्ट का सेकंड पार्ट स्टार्ट करेंगे विच इज इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी लॉज। अब सबसे पहले ना इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी क्या होता है, बहुत ही अगर मैं कॉमन टर्म में देखूं, जब हम अपने असेट्स के बारे में देखते हैं बैलेंस शीट में, तो आपने गुडविल के बारे में सुना होगा। गुडविल हमारा इनटैंजिबल असेट है, विच इज गुडविल क्या है, जो ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम कंपनी या एंटिटी की जो रेपुटेशन है उसको मोनेटाइज करके हम एक वैल्यूएशन करके उसको बैलेंस शीट की असेट साइड में दिखाते हैं। सो ये जो है ये अपना इनटैंजिबल असेट की तरह ट्रीट होता है। अब जो हमारा इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स है, इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी लॉ है, इट इज ऑल्सो एन इनटैंजिबल थिंग which is developed through application of human mind. ह्यूमन इंटेलेक्ट से जो चीज क्रिएट होती है उसको कहते हैं इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी। बाय द नेम you can understand that. थ्रू ह्यूमन माइंड, थ्रू ह्यूमन इंटेलेक्ट, उसको प्रिजर्व करने के लिए, रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट प्रमोट करने के लिए, टू इंश्योर दैट न्यू इन्वेंशंस, न्यू technologies come into the market, intellectual property law came into force to safeguard the interest of the parties. अब यहाँ पे हम intellectual property rights को starting से देखेंगे and we are going to see what is the conventions, what are the different laws coming into play, national and international both. अगर मैं national की बात करूँ, अगर आप ये देखो हमारा जो trademark है which identifies the company, one company from another, patent, trademark, copyright, geographical indications, designs, ये सारे हमारे intellectual property assets होते हैं which are created through human mind. अगर हम इसको start करें, intellectual property होता क्या है? Intellectual property relates to the creation of human mind and intellect. Creators can be given the right to prevent others from using their inventions, designs, and other creation, and to use that right to negotiate payment in return for others using them. तो जो हमारे creators हैं, they are given the right to exploit their mind and to prevent others from using the invention they have so created. The creation of IPR is increasingly being recognized in today's economy and society. Intellectual property rights are considered to be the backbone of any economy, and their creation and protection is essential for the sustained growth of a nation. इकोनॉमी की ग्रोथ के लिए दिस इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट. द इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स आर नाउ नॉट ओनली बीइंग यूज्ड एज अ टूल टू प्रोटेक्ट द क्रिएटिविटी एंड जनरेट रेवेन्यू, बट ऑल्सो टू बिल्ड स्ट्रैटेजिक अलायंसेस फॉर द सोशियो इकोनॉमिक एंड टेक्नोलॉजिकल ग्रोथ. इट इज टू प्रमोट, सबसे पहला जो मोटिव हमारा इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स को पिक्चर में लाने का था वॉज टू प्रमोट द क्रिएटिविटी, टू प्रमोट न्यू इन्वेंशंस, रेवेन्यू. और आज की डेट में वे ग्लोबलाइजेशन इज द करंट एज, स्ट्रैटेजिक अलायंसेस में भी दिस प्रॉपर्टी प्लेज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल. Intellectual property is the property which has been created by the exercise of intellectual faculty. It is the result of person's intellectual activities. Thus, intellectual property refers to creation of mind such as inventions, designs, literary, artistic work, symbols which are ultimately used in commerce. Intellectual property rights allow the creators or owners to have the benefit from their work when these are exploited commercially. These rights are statutory rights governed in accordance with the provisions of corresponding legislations. Intellectual property rights reward creativity and human endeavor which fuel the progress of humankind. They allow the creators, basically जिसकी वो property है, who has developed it. अब जैसे कोई patent है, उसके बारे में बात करें. A person developed a new invention, a new technologies come into picture, and उसके ऊपर to ensure that he reaps the benefit and he is the one who is able to exercise his control over that property, so he can get a patent on that property. या फिर जो market में नए नए products आते हैं, to ensure that a product of one person is identifiable over a period of time, उसके लिए वो trademark is registered. तो इन सब चीजों को these rights they reward creativity and human endeavor which fuel the progress of humankind. The areas of intellectual property that it covers are copyright and related right. अब related right में क्या है? The rights of performers, producers of sound recordings and broadcasting organization. Trademark, including service marks. Geographical indications, including appellations of origin. Industrial designs, patents, including the protection of new varieties of plants. The layout designs of integrated circuits, and undisclosed information including trade secrets and test data. Intellectual property is a vital component of economic growth and a tool for corporate competitiveness in today's competitive market. Intellectual property rights serve as a catalyst for the development of innovation and inventions. Ideas, innovation, and creative expressions on the basis of which there is a public desire to grant the status of property are referred to as IPR. In order for the inventors or developers of that property to profit commercially for their efforts or reputation, intellectual property rights grant them exclusive rights, and there are various forms जैसे कि trademark, copyright, patent, designs, ये सारे intellectual property rights में cover होते हैं. Technology management is to promote the effective and efficient use of created technology. IPR are ideas, inventions, and creative expressions on which the public is ready to bestow the status of property. It is important to manage technology, including efficient commercialization, in a dynamic context with shifting industry and competitor base. Any original work of human intellect, including work of art, literature, technology, science, is a work of intellectual property. The legal privileges granted to the inventor or creator to safeguard his invention or creativity for a predetermined amount of time are known as intellectual property rights. For a specific amount of time, these legal rights grant the inventor or creator's assignee the sole right to exploit the idea or production. The importance of IP in the contemporary economy has long been established. Furthermore, it has been unequivocally proven that the intellectual work involved in the innovation must be given the attention it deserves if the innovation is to serve good. Basically, IPR got into picture with the main intention to promote innovation, to promote application of human mind, to ensure that the innovation goes on in future. Intellectual property gives the inventor or creator an exclusive right to exploit his product for a specific length of time and is a powerful weapon for protecting investment in time, money, and effort. By enabling healthy competition, industrial progress and economic expansion, IPR contributes to the economic development of a nation. Any society progress is directly influenced by the IPR and the framework of its policy. Lack of understanding of IPR leads to demise of inventions. Basically, अगर किसी को leeway ही नहीं मिलेगा, leverage ही नहीं मिलेगा over application of his mind, and others are using it without him being the recognized for his application, for his invention, then it will lead to demise of invention. The person, any other person will not come forward. Then there would be high danger of infringement. There will be financial loss and the end of a nation's intellectual era. Therefore, there is a critical necessity for the transmission of IPR knowledge in order to support homegrown discoveries and technological advancements. Only by teaching the many stakeholders, including policymakers, farmers, academicians, industry researchers, and consumers about the significance of IPR in technology management can the process of IP awareness can be accelerated in a nation like India. What are the regulatory framework of IP, intellectual property laws in India? Patent Act, Trademark Act 1999, Copyright Act 1957, Designs Act 2000, and Geographical Indication Registration and Protection Act 1999. So these are the laws which govern the intellectual property landscape in India. What is the nature of intellectual property? जो हम intellectual property rights पढ़ रहे हैं उसका nature क्या है? What are the features? Number one, intangible right over tangible properties. Intellectual property's intangibility is the primary characteristics that sets it apart from other types of property. Although there are many significant differences between the various types of IP, one characteristic they all share is the establishment of property protection over intangible assets like ideas, inventions, science, and information, as opposed to close relationship and other assets which are tangible objects. When works are exploited for commercial purposes, it enables the creators or owners to profit from their creation. Basically, जो intellectual property है, that is intangible right over tangible objects. Now, right to sue. When a person gets intellectual property right over a property, then the person gets a right to sue, right to file a case. Now, IP is a resource that can be owned and managed to use the language of the law. जब आप किसी प्रॉपर्टी की ओनरशिप होती है ना, then you have a right to sue and you can be sued as well. The majority of intellectual property is challenged through legal rights of action that can be carried out by people who have a legal standing. Since IP is a property right, it can be inherited, purchased, gifted, sold and trusted pledge. तो आपके पास एक लीगल राइट हो जाती है which gives you an authority to sue as well as be sued. Subject to certain restriction, the owner of an IPR owns a sort of property that can be used however they like. They also have the legal right to sue anyone who uses their innovation without their permission and to be compensated with actual property. So, intellectual property is an intangible right over intangible property, and the person who is in possession of an IP gets a right to sue. Rights and duties. Intellectual property results in both obligations and property rights. The owner of the intellectual property is entitled to carry out specific task in connection with his creation. He has the sole authority to create, copy, sell and exploit the work. Additionally, there is a negative right that bars others from using their statutory rights. So when you get an intellectual right over something, then you get the rights as well as certain duties are also entrusted. Coexistence of different rights. In relation to a specific function, various IPR kinds may coexist. For instance, an image of an innovation might be copyrighted and an invention itself might be patented. अब कोई नया किसी ने invention करा तो उसके ऊपर a person can also get a patent over it और उसकी marketing के लिए a person can get a copyright over the design or a trademark can also be taken. तो बहुत सारी जो different types of rights है, they coexist together at a single point. A design may be included in a trademark and can be protected under the Design Act. Thus, the numerous rights that can coexist in an IP share has many similarities and distinctions. For instance, there are similarities between a patent and an industrial design, a trademark and a geographical indicator, and so forth. Some of the rights related to intellectual property are positive right, while the others are negative right. Exhaustion of rights. The doctrine of exhaustion generally applies to IPR. अब exhaustion का मतलब क्या होता है? After the first sale made by the right holder or by the authority designated for its exhaustion, that person's right expires and he is no longer permitted to halt the movement of the goods moving forward. So doctrine of exhaustion क्या है? अगर a person is in possession of intellectual property right and he transfers, he makes the first sale, then his right comes to an end at that very point of time. His right expires and he can no longer make or halt the movement of goods moving forward. As a result, once an IP right holder has sold a physical good that bears IPR, it cannot stop subsequent sale of the good. The first consent marks the end of the right. This theory is founded on the idea of free movement of products, which is legitimate by the owner's permission or right. It is prohibited to use the exclusive selling privilege in connection to the same item twice. Dynamism. IPR is undergoing continual improvement. रोज आपको नई innovation, नई technology is coming. So IPR is, there's a huge dynamic improvements in the intellectual rights, and the realm of IP is expanding as quickly as technology in all spheres of human activity. New things are being added to the IPR scope, and the scope of its protection is being enlarged in accordance with the demands of scientific and technical advancement. Biopatent, software copyrights, plants diversity protection are a few examples that highlight the recent advancements in the IPR area. The value of intellectual property and its probability has long been recognized, and it is represented in all spheres of government, including legislative, administrative, and judicial levels. So, हमारे features of intellectual property rights क्या हैं? Number one, it is an intangible right. A person who is in possession of an IP gets a right to sue. Rights as well as duties are conferred on the person. There is coexistence of different rights at a single place in relation to intellectual property. Doctrine of exhaustion is applicable, and the dynamism is an important component of intellectual properties.